All right, guys, welcome to episode 48 of the Digital Barbell podcast. We are happy to have you here. Thanks to each and every one of you that tunes in to listen to us every single week. We're getting close to episode number 52, which will, of course, mean we've made it a year of putting out a podcast every
That confuses me because I feel like 50 is like a halfway point, and then you're always like, episode 52.
I'll be happy when we get to 52. And then we're going to take a month off. And no, we're going to keep it going. I thought we would read a couple of reviews that people have left on Apple to thank people for leaving reviews. If you guys have time to leave us one, we'd really appreciate it. This one comes from somebody named A Happy Informer. I love listening to Jonathan and Blakely's podcast. Their mission is to inform and encourage people in their fitness and health journey. They're easy to understand and follow along as they talk. Plus, they have some awesome guests on here. They're easy. I'm glad to hear that we're easy to follow along to as we talk, because sometimes I just feel like I ramble on forever. I'm glad it's easy to follow. Here's another one. Lucky to have found these two before they are famous and booked for a year. Great information on the podcast. Would highly recommend for anyone looking to take their next step in their health, whatever that step is. This actually comes from a client, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Also, we do have a quick sponsor I want to get to real quick. Today, we're sponsored by Gold Jewelry.
What? You're so weird.
For people watching the video version of this, they'll see that Blakely's been rocking some gold jewelry lately. Why don't you tell us the story behind that?
There's no story. When I go to my mom's house, I look through her things and she's like, hey, here's some old stuff that like was your grandma's. And so I start to wear it.
Yeah. So you're rocking a gold chain?
This was my grandmother's.
Uh-huh.
These bracelets were my mom's. And this was mine when I was a kid.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a unicorn pen. My I'm going to bring the look of pens back. You know, where did like a brooch?
Hold on.
What?
Well, you're saying pen.
Brooch, like a brooch,
yeah.
I guess. That's what I was
With that Louisiana accent, people might think you're saying you're wearing pens, like a Bic pen. She's saying pins, people. P-I-N-S.
My grandmother used to always wear it's like a pen on your shirt.
We'll just leave it at that.
A brooch.
Whatever.
Anyway, I had some from when I was a kid, and anyway, I think it's a cool look.
It is cool. What other ones do you have in that
This
collection?
is all I have. But she had a bunch. So.
Okay, so we'll slowly accumulate those. I love it. Maybe I'll start wearing some gold too. My wedding ring is gold. All right, we've got another episode of You Go, I Go this week. I mean, every time we post one of these, we get millions of downloads. So it's obviously what the people want. So let's give
and they're
the people.
fun. I think you can get through a lot of different topics.
Yeah.
So I like them. All right.
So here we go. You go, I go. I'll go first. I read this quote in a book this morning and I really liked it. It was not talking about health and fitness, but the quote was that desire finds time. And what it means is that we're all busy. Everybody's busy. Our days are jam-packed full of stuff. I don't know a lot of people who just have spare time. But if there's something in our life that we truly desire, we find the time for it. Like most of us desire to have the money to pay our mortgage and buy our food. We desire that. So we find the time to work.
To have a job.
To make money.
Yeah.
Because we really desire a roof over our head and food and to provide for our families and our dogs. So we make it happen. So since this is a health and fitness podcast and you're listening to this because you have some goal for your health and fitness, you desire a certain outcome. So if you find yourself not having time, look for areas in your life where you can make changes. Or maybe you just don't truly desire, like we talked about last week, maybe you just don't truly desire it as much as you want. Because if you truly want something, you'll find the time for it.
I think we're all guilty of this. I think there's things that we want, and then there's things that we make happen by like we find the time. So I like that. I really like that. It kind of like time. It prioritizes things like on its own for you.
Yeah, you're right. You can just like if you were to open the settings on your phone and go to the screen time app, that will kind of show you where your priorities are. I don't like when my phone reminds me every Sunday what apps I'm spending the most time on, because it shows me where I'm wasting time and where I can do better.
Okay.
But it's a good reminder. So yeah, as you go about your week this week, think about that. Desire finds time.
Ooh.
I'll keep it kind of short on that one.
That was deep.
What do you got?
So this one is talking about like identifying yourself. It's very similar to what you were talking about, but identifying yourself as the person that you want to be. Mm-hmm. So so say you want to run a half marathon, and you just say like, I want to run a half marathon, but you don't get out there and run a few times a week. If the weather is like inclement and it's sprinkling, or it's cold outside, or it's too hot, you don't go run. Mm-hmm. And so starting to like reframe your mindset on like your identity becomes, I'm the person who's going to run I'm the type of person that runs a half marathon. I'm the type of person that runs when it's hot outside, when it's cold outside. And it can go with anything. Like, I'm the type of person that eats healthy. I'm the type of person that makes the right choices. Yeah. Most of the time. I'm the type of person that works out 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm. It's like taking your goal and interlacing it into the very fabric of who you are mm-hmm. as a person. So you can transform from one thing to another.
Yeah.
Like, and this is like, ties into self-limiting beliefs also, because people will say like, I want to run, mm-hmm. but I'm the kind of person that, gives up after 3 weeks. So what you say can become what happens
your
to
identity.
You also. That can negatively weave into your identity.
Yeah.
Also. So, realizing that you can change, and then mm-hmm. weaving the behaviors of this identity change into your everyday life mm-hmm. can lead to that transformation.
Yeah.
I was messaging with a client yesterday, or I was doing his check-in video, and he said some stuff that got my mind turning as to the transformation I've already seen him start to go through is because of this very thing. He's bringing aspects of this journey into his life from outside sources, because it helps him stay on track and helps him just understand that this is in fact a journey instead mm-hmm. of just having a goal out there. Like, he's reading about fitness more. He's listening to more fitness podcasts. He's surrounding himself with positive people, mm-hmm. and all those things are leading to an identity shift.
Yeah.
All this ties into habits too. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, this can work in the opposite direction too, where you can have this idea in your mind that you want to become a different person. You want your identity to be this healthy person who has mm-hmm. these healthy habits. But if your environment doesn't line up with that, if you continue to hang around with people who have a different identity and a different track in their life, it's mm-hmm. going to be really, really hard for you to make those changes, because we're all subject to peer pressure and all that kind of stuff.
Isn't there a saying like you're the sum of the 5 people that you hang around mm-hmm. the most?
Yeah, I think that's very true.
Yeah.
And I think that's the power of community accountability mm-hmm. when it comes to this kind of stuff. This is why when you owned the gym, there was mm-hmm. so much success there, because there was a community aspect. There was everybody had the same mission. They were surrounded by people that were encouraging them mm-hmm. and holding them accountable. And that led to them being able to more easily identify as a person who takes these daily actions to mm-hmm. make themselves better.
Yeah. And I think like looking in from an outsider, I think like back CrossFit used to get like what do they say? Like, it was like a cultish thing mm-hmm. or
cult fit.
And I think like looking in from an outsider, that's why it got that like stereotype, is because it was groups of people that had like mindsets that were in a similar place. They cared about their fitness. They cared about their nutrition. They cared about their health and lifestyle. And they, went to the same place. They did the same things. They talked about the same things. But those are the people that you were surrounding yourself with people mm-hmm. that were like you.
Yeah. If you want to change your identity, you need to surround yourself with like-minded people mm-hmm. who support your goals.
Yeah.
And know that you are capable of change, and that it's not going to be a linear process. There's mm-hmm. going to be hiccups in the road, but you have to persevere.
Yeah.
All right.
I
want to talk about collagen protein. I'm going to put a link in the show notes to a long form article I wrote about collagen protein, but I want to hit the highlights here because I feel like it's kind of making a resurgence.
Okay.
It's been super popular, but I feel like it's just popping up more and more. So I hope that by talking about it, I can bring some more awareness to it.
I feel like it gets controversial sometimes when you talk about this, and at least it has in the past. So I'll just sit back and enjoy.
Well, so The reason that collagen protein is so popular right now is because it's a huge industry, over $200 million this year just on collagen protein as a supplement. That's a lot. And it's grown rapidly over the last 5 years. And the thing about collagen protein is it's very cheap to produce because it's a low quality protein source. So the profit margins are huge on it. And companies aren't stupid. They realize that if they push high profit products, they're going to make more money.
Can you explain what collagen protein is versus like a whey protein?
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about what collagen is in the first place. Collagen is a group of amino acids that make up different tissues in your body. We're talking about like skin, tendons, ligaments, and there's collagen on like the inside of your body that helps support your organs, that support the lymphatic system, like your natural detox system. So it's important that we have collagen in our body. So the idea with collagen protein supplementation is that by eating collagen protein or products that have collagen protein in them, like they may have bars and drinks and all this other stuff now, is that you're supporting, improving all those things in your body that are made up of collagen by putting more collagen protein into your body. The problem with this is that the way that your body digests food, amino acids, all kinds, anything that you eat, it doesn't work like that. The way it works is picture like a giant trough, okay? And all the food that you eat goes into that trough. And attached to the bottom of the trough, there's like 100 funnels. And all those funnels are spread out. So all the food that you put in the trough ends up in one of those funnels. And then your body decides, based on what you need at that time, which funnel that food is going to go into. All food. So all of the protein, all of the calories that you eat get digested, broken down into their constituent parts, and then diverted by your body automatically into the funnel where it's needed. Now, so what that means is that just by eating collagen, you're not putting collagen into your body. Your body's going to break that down into the amino acids that it's made up of and use it for whatever function amino acids are needed for at that time. Does that make sense? So the problem with using collagen as a supplement is, like I said before, it has a poor amino acid breakdown. It has an incomplete version of the amino acid spread that our body needs. It just has a high quantity of a limited amount of amino acids. So it doesn't provide as much benefit as eating a complete protein source like something from meat or dairy or fish or plant-based sources like soy or pea. So you're not actually increasing the amount of collagen protein in your body by eating collagen protein. If you want to give your body the best chance to remodel and build those things that are made up of collagen, your best bet is just eat a high protein diet in general that's made up of the most bioavailable high amino acid containing foods, which are the animal and complete plant-based sources that I talked about earlier. And you'll
sorry, a dog was snoring.
Dog snoring in the background as always. So just aiming for around a gram of protein per pound that you weigh, per pound that you per day, per pound that you weigh, is your best chance of providing your body with enough amino acids across the whole spectrum without spending money on collagen protein that costs 10 times the amount of food or whey protein.
You know what this reminds me of? Like face creams.
Yeah.
There'll be like a buzz ingredient in face creams or makeup in general. And it's just like, it spreads like wildfire, like hyaluronic acid or whatever. But that just became a thing. And it's like, we all need this, and it's in every brand.
Yeah.
And then it might die off, and then another one might have like a resurgence.
Oh, and you can even tell in the packaging and the marketing of collagen protein that they're trying to target women, and they're overemphasizing like the benefit of collagen protein towards like
improvements in your skin
and stuff like that. I was just commenting to you yesterday, like, man, I feel like I'm having to cut my fingernails like
every week,
all the time. And I don't eat collagen protein, but I eat a high protein diet. So I'm giving my body all the amino acids it needs for all those all those things that they're touting the benefits of collagen protein for. Now, that's not to say that collagen protein can't be a part of your overall protein intake for the day. It does have amino acids in it. But like I said, it's an incomplete array of amino acids. So they do contribute to your overall daily protein. But if you're counting on getting to that 1 gram of protein per pound per day through collagen protein, that's a big waste of time and money. You're much better off eating real food from dairy and all the other sources that I listed earlier. That's all I wanted to say about that. I will put the link to the blog post in the show notes.
Okay.
And let me recap, as always, since I didn't know this for like 5 years. Show notes are
you've recapped this.
If you go to the app that you're listening to this in, where the play button is on the screen, scroll down and you'll see show notes. There you go.
All right.
I went. You go.
You went.
I went a long time.
So this one I think is very similar to the identity topic we were talking about earlier, but it's about setting goals.
Okay.
And how to set goals and actually what's the word I'm looking for? Accomplish them. Yes. Thank you. So setting goals is easy. It can just be like, I want to do this. And then it's just like a statement. Boom. That
the goals, I've said the goal.
The statement goes, it's like a New Year's resolution. Yeah. You think of it, you say it, and maybe you write it down, and then there's nothing really like,
if you believe, you will achieve.
So
you mean it's not that simple?
No, it's not that simple.
What's a better way?
A better way is to set goals that there's a saying like set SMART goals.
Yes.
SMART means specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based.
So goals should have all those criteria.
So we used to do this at the gym, and it was fun. So I would have everybody set a training related goal and then a just general goal. And I think we did some competitions around it.
Yeah.
But the goal had to have these markers. So it had to be specific. Couldn't just be like, I want to lose weight, whatever. That's very just general. Or
I want to get fit.
Yeah. So, or I just want to be fit and athletic. That's a very general, there's nothing that can I say in the end of some 3-month period, you did it.
Let me look at you. Yeah, that worked.
So we want something more specific. I want this measure of body fat. I want to run a mile in this amount of time. And so that's where the specific comes in. Measurable is can we measure it? Can we take your body fat percentage now and your body fat percentage then? Can we take your mile time now, your mile time then? Can we measure it and see if you actually achieve the goal? Is it attainable? Is this something that actually is attainable for you? If I'm just my goal's I want to have $1 million by the end of the year. That's not an attainable goal for me. It's not. So it needs to be something that is specific to you that you can actually attain.
Yeah.
Is it relevant? Is it something that's it's going to be a relevant part of your life? If it's I want to swim in some river in Australia, that's not relevant to me. I've never been to Australia. I'm not going to go to Australia this year. It's not a goal that would make sense for me right now. And then is it time-based? Can I say like I said, I want to run a mile in this amount of time by December. I want to have this amount of body fat by, and then put a date on it.
Yeah.
So kind of rearranging your goals from just a statement to having some very specific things around a goal. And then again, this pulls in that identity piece. I'm, then you start to bring that in. I'm the type of person that will run. I will, 5 times a day, 5 times a week. I'm the type of person that will work out 5 times a week, if you want these specific goals.
Yeah. I like to think of this as translating fluffy goals into smart goals.
There you go. Fluffy.
I'm guilty of having fluffy goals. It's they're just like marshmallows out there. It's they're so vague. There's no accountability.
Another one not workout or nutrition related is I want someone's at the New Year be I want to read 20 books this year, but is that even an attainable goal for you? Do you read? Do you read regularly? Do you mark out time? Can you read 20 books in a year? Things like that. It's just a goal in the air, but without any specifics behind it. and thought through it,
Yeah.
it doesn't become achievable.
Yeah. I think a big part of this too is setting behavior-based steps along the way, instead of like like we talked about last week, just having the goal. And that's the only thing we think about. Like, what are the actual behaviors that are going to have to go into achieving this goal?
Yeah.
Are those behaviors specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based also? Like, let's look at the actual steps that it's going to take.
Yeah, I'm thinking back to some of the ones like we had at the gym, and it was a cool process. And, you know, some of them were like, I want to get 10 double unders. You know, I want to get 3 pull-ups, things like that. And so we would, you know, they would write down the goal, and then each week we would work on like in some extra time in the gym, like, okay, go work on your double unders, go work on your pull-ups. And we would like take these steps to make this an achievable goal. And it was really cool to see people like write down a goal and then achieve it after a certain amount of time.
Yeah. I'm doing this with one of my custom programming clients right now on getting pull-ups.
Cool.
So, yeah. All right. I like that.
All right.
I want to talk about breaking through this scenario, how to break through this particular scenario where somebody comes and they say, I had pizza tonight because my wife wanted pizza. It's as simple as that. How do we get past that situation where we have a goal and then we do something we didn't want to do that doesn't line up with that goal because of the outside influence of somebody else? Because it's really common.
Okay.
So my opinion, the best way to do this is to start off by having an honest conversation with the important people in your life that are going to be present during you making the changes that you're going to make. Why are you smirking?
I'm not. I'm just listening.
You have to have an honest conversation with these people, because they can either be a cheerleader and a support for you, or they can be an unknowing saboteur of your progress. So that's step number one.
Okay.
And it just needs to be a sincere conversation and go about it like from the perspective of, hey, this is really important to me and I need your support during this process. And what that means is, here's the things that I'm trying to change. Try to not introduce things into my life and persuade me to do things that are outside of the objective of these goals. And that will eliminate like 50% of these situations right there. And then you actually have to rely on discipline and willpower in these situations too. So let's say that 50% of the time the situation doesn't even come up because you had the honest conversation. And now let's say you encounter it with somebody who you didn't have that conversation with, maybe more of an acquaintance. People will present you with temptation, and you'll be forced to use discipline and willpower to say no. It's just as simple as that. Now, let's say that the situation is you have the conversation with your spouse, they still want to order pizza, and that's all that's going to be there for that meal. Now, one way you can get around this situation is by actually having some options that you can choose when they order the pizza anyway.
Sorry, that dog is snoring so loud. It somehow happens when it's your turn to go. I don't know why.
I don't blame her. I'm boring.
No, you're not.
But all right. So what this means practically is like planning ahead for these situations, having some frozen burger patties in the freezer that you can eat, having some frozen vegetables, having some canned beans, having some canned vegetables, having some tuna.
That's tough though. Okay, so like they're like, I want to order pizza tonight, and it doesn't align with your goals to have pizza. So the pizza gets ordered. The pizza comes into the house. That's the meal. The rest of the family starts to eat the pizza. That's a tough situation to deal with. But like you said, having those options in the house, like having some protein, some salads, some different options for you to pull out of the refrigerator and make something so you can have a meal with the family is one step. And I think the other step is just getting through that moment. That's going to be a very brief moment. It's going to be like how long do you eat pizza? 15 minutes. a meal, like
you could eat a lot of pizza in 15 minutes.
I'm just saying, like, so everybody sits down there having pizza. It's a very short amount of time in that whole day. So you just have to like get through that 15 minutes or whatever it is, and then you're on the other side of it. So when you're on the other side of it now, you either made the choice to like eat the pizza and then you're feeling regret because you knew that wasn't like an aligning with your goals at the moment, or you're on the other side of it and you're like, dude, I am hella proud of myself right now because like the pizza was there, I smelled it, the whole family partaked in it, and I ate my own meal.
Yeah, like being able to have the forethought of the great feeling you will have by exercising your discipline and willpower versus the negative feelings.
It's kind of like stepping into the gym to work out. Like, it's like, oh man, and then you go and then you're on the other side of it and you're like, man, I feel great, I'm so glad I did that. Or you get to the end of the day and you're like, oh, I didn't work out today, and there's just like a depressed, like I should have worked out today feeling. So you like starting to like think forward of like, what is that feeling going to be like on the other side of this? This is going to be hard. Everything that's, it's okay that stuff is hard. It's going to be hard, but once you get through it, how are you going to feel?
Yeah, totally. Let me just circle back to the beginning again and tell you like
Here we go.
Get ready to snore, Lacey. No, but real quick, another spin on this is just going into any social situation and somebody's pushing food on you. We talked about this a lot in the jalapeno poppers episode.
Not that again.
Jalapeno popper / cookie episode. But just know that when somebody's putting pressure on you to eat something, like that is not you. That is not on you. You have no responsibility to appease someone else because they're pressuring you to do something. This goes in anything in your life. Like you got to figure out where you want to draw the line.
And we talked about before.
What are you willing to do? Sacrifice of your own decision just to make somebody else happy.
And a lot of times it's like a feeling that they have that they want to put on you. And I can think of a lot of people in my life that like have been on the other side of their health and fitness journey, and they're still like struggling with like making the right choices. And then they want to pressure you to come along with them to that side. And then I've seen those same people make changes in their life and they no longer do those things. They no longer are like, hey, eat this, because they've been on the other side and they know like why you're not doing it, and they know what it feels like, et cetera, et cetera. So it's cool. It's been cool to see. I know specific people in my life that have been like the pushers, and now they're no longer are because they're on that other side. Yeah. And they're like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, they're on the other side of the jalapeno popper.
Stop. We can no longer mention the jalapeno popper.
All right. I
Is
went.
That it?
These headphones are messing up my hair.
Oh gosh. Don't talk about the headphones. So we've been down back and forth to my family's house in Houston over the last few weeks. And the reason we've been doing that is my mom had a heart procedure done. So I wanted to be there for her during like the initial appointments and testings, and then during the actual procedure. And it got me thinking about that saying of just like, if I would have started, I would be done, or would be here already.
If I'd started in the past.
Yeah. Because so what happened with the, ultimately with her heart, it was like a heart valve replacement. What happened with the procedure was like, she was given 2 dates, it's going to be either this date in May or this date in May. And of course, when you're faced with something, usually you want the later to happen, like whether it's like
something you're not really excited about doing.
When it's something you're not that excited about starting or doing, or especially like a surgery, you're like, the later would be my preference. But the doctor picked the first one. Mm-hmm. So her procedure was at the beginning of May. And yesterday was a week from the procedure. So it was either going to be last Tuesday or yesterday. Tuesday.
Yeah. Depending on when you're
if you're following this.
Hold on, let me get my calendar
Anyway, my point is like it started me thinking like today we are like she's a week healed from this procedure versus she's in the hospital today. Today she's just like she's like done it. She's gone through the healing process and she's like going back to the doctor for her checkup. And it got me thinking of that saying, like, if I would have just started, if I would have just done it, look where I'd be in a week, in a month, in a year, in 5 years.
Yeah. We were talking yesterday about how time is a weird thing, how like years pass quickly, but decades seem to pass slowly. And sometimes you forget like how much progress you can actually make in a year that went by quickly.
A year can get away from you. Yeah. I mean, and a year is a long amount of time, but a year can get away from you.
And a year is enough time to like make a complete transformation into your life with your health and fitness.
Yeah. So I was thinking, why don't we start things? Like, why don't we begin? Like, it's hard to begin something new. It's hard to like dive into something or, just be like, okay, I'm. So I think, there's like a lot of fear in it. There's like a doubt that it can even be done. There's like a lack of motivation going on. There's like other people's judgments and stuff. Like, there's just like, a feeling of like, I don't know what to do to start. Like, I want to start working out, but I don't even know what to do. And it just ends there,
Yeah.
So I think go ahead.
I was going to like, so that's true for sure. But is it really? I think
that's the things I think that we tell ourselves.
Right.
A lot of times we'll use like the confusion and all that stuff as like an excuse of like, we're really choosing not to start. We're choosing not to start whatever it is.
Right.
Or we're starting on.
Yeah. We use the excuse of confusion to not take action.
For like, really, it's like an unwillingness.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the very first thing you talked about, like desire finds time. It really brings it back into that, I think. Yeah.
So like maybe throughout this next week, all of us can think of those two things. Desire finds time, and are we choosing to be confused as a mask for the fear that we actually feel to get started?
Yeah.
Are you really confused about nutrition? Are you really confused about what are more nutritious, healthier foods to eat more of?
Are you choosing not to like take the time to purchase the foods and make the foods and go through that process of, learning to cook something?
Right. Are you really confused, that you need to exercise 3 to 6 to 5 times per week?
Yeah.
I mean, of course there's more details than that,
right.
But like, how much of not knowing where to start is real versus just your fear of not wanting to start?
Yeah.
All you have to do is join one of our programs and we'll tell you what to do.
Well, I think the way our programs are released, whether we're released the first of every month, makes me kind of think about that, because we do have people contact us and they say, I'm not quite ready. I'll start in a month or two. I need to get XYZ ready. In a month or two, they could have been 2 months in.
Yeah. I think about what Ashley said in the interview with the three sisters. It was like 2 or 3 episodes ago. She said 2 things. I asked about why did you decide to do this? And part of her reason was I wanted to like look back in a year and be like, haha, I started a year ago. Or like when her friends set New Year's resolutions, she started, I believe, in Thanksgiving, and her friends were like, let's set New Year's resolutions to exercise.
She's like, well, I'm already doing it.
I've already been doing it for a few months.
I like that. That was really cool.
Yeah. So there is no time like the present. There's going to be no time where stress is low and you feel ready to start the next thing. So don't let your fear of the unknown, don't let fake confusion lead you to not start, and don't wait for life to get easier. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. In this particular situation with my mom, I was just super proud of her this was scary. It's scary to have someone operate on your heart. And it wasn't like she was in a bad condition. It was like her, she had been seeing a heart doctor and they're like, I think you need to have this procedure done. It's much harder to make the decision to have a procedure done when you're not feeling like symptoms of something. Like every time she went to the doctors before, they were like, you are unlike most of our patients. Most of our patients have trouble walking from the seat in the waiting room to the desk. You're not like, she's not out of breath. She was working out regularly before this, all that stuff. And so I'm really proud of her for even like, trusting this doctor and just being like, you're going to feel even better on the other side of this, but you need to have this done. It's like a preventative. But anyway, like now originally she even thought it was going to be a year from May. So in a year from now, look where she's going to be. She's already had the procedure. She's going to be able to start working out in like another 2 weeks. And in a year from now, look at the place where she's going to be versus like if she had delayed this.
Yep. I love it.
Boom.
Okay, I want to talk about dealing with hunger when you're trying to lose fat.
Okay.
So I've been in a calorie surplus / maintenance for the better part of the last 2 years, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Been a couple times in there where I've done little short mini cuts, but I've been eating a lot of food and gained some weight since my last cut. So, I'm only like 3 days into this cut, and I made a comment to you yesterday, like,
I'm hungry.
I'm remembering what hunger feels like. And that's something that goes along with being in a calorie deficit, especially after being at maintenance or in a surplus for a long period of time, is some hunger. So I wanted to talk about some tips for dealing with hunger when you're trying to lose fat. And I'm bringing some of these back into my own life.
Okay.
So first off, I want to say that it's okay to be hungry. When you're trying to lose fat, as we've talked about many times, like, your body doesn't really want you to do that because it's insurance policy against starvation. So it's going to use hunger to try to get you to eat. So if you're trying to lose fat, you have to fight against that, which means like not eating at the first sign of hunger. You're not going to die if you wait a little bit.
I'm hungry right now.
Yeah, me too. So unless you're diabetic and your blood sugar is in dangerous levels, it's okay to not eat at the first sign of hungry. Honestly, your body will use like mental cues at certain times of day or when you do certain physical things to trigger you to try to eat. Like, I know, we work in here in our office, and there's no bathroom in here, and we have to walk back across to the house to go to the bathroom. And as I pass through the kitchen, like, I have a trigger in my mind that's like, maybe I'm hungry. Maybe I should grab a snack. So I have to physically fight that trigger. That's not real hunger. That's just a mental thing that my mind
I usually eat a snack around 10:30. Like at 10:30, you're like, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, whether you're hungry or not.
So you have to, fight those natural tendencies of your body. Those are just kind of on the psychological side. And then practically, part of fighting hunger in a deficit is to set the size of your deficit appropriately. Like, aim for that 10 to 15% calorie restriction below your maintenance calories versus 20 to 30. That's much more likely to keep you on track with hunger. Like, less hunger signals, less actual hunger, and less likely behavioral deviation from your plan because you're ravenously hungry. So that's setting yourself up for success too. Another way is to just really focus on staying hydrated throughout the day. If you've probably heard people say, like, you're 94% of the time you're hungry, you're actually just thirsty or whatever.
94.
I don't know how accurate all those studies are, but I do know if you're drinking enough water throughout the day, you will be less hungry. So, shoot for somewhere between 60 and 120 ounces per day if you're a smaller female or a bigger dude. That will help a lot too. Also, I said, like, how some of us have certain times of day where we know we're just kind of start to kind of be hungry. I take practical plans for those time of day to make sure I have options available that aren't going to make me just sit there and eat spoonfuls of peanut butter out of the jar. You get to that point, you have no plan, you'll go for anything. You're out driving around and that hunger signal hits and you don't have any food with you. You're like, there's
packing snacks.
There's Krispy Kreme. So planning ahead and having the options that you want to eat with you goes a long way also. And then let's talk about actual foods. You want to focus a lot of your diet on like larger volume, high nutrient foods versus smaller, low volume, calorie dense foods. So an example of this would be like the oats that we have for breakfast most days, except for on Biscuit Sunday. Like, you can cover, a third to almost half of the plate with oatmeal for like 170 calories, something like that for a serving. That takes up a lot of volume in your stomach, and that's a higher fiber food, which takes longer to digest. That's an example of a high volume, lower calorie food. And then right next to that, you put 2 tablespoons of almond butter next to it. That takes up like a little tiny blob on your plate that you can eat in 3 seconds. That has the exact same number of calories as that almond butter. So that's an example of high volume and high calorie foods. You want to focus most of your diet on those kinds of foods.
I've seen that example of like someone holding like a thing of watermelon, like a tray, and then like 2 cookies or a cookie, and it's just like, look at the volume. I'm definitely like a volume eater. I would rather eat like a tray of watermelon than like 1 cookie.
Yeah, for sure. I'm the same way, unless I'm just eating cookies that day.
I mean, like, I'd rather eat more of something than one little bitty bite of something delicious.
Yeah. In our nutrition intake questionnaire, I root out what preference people are. And it says, would you rather have, if the calories were the same, would you rather have one piece of cake or would you rather have 50 cookies?
Yeah, we were talking about this with my sister-in-law because my brother is completely opposite of me, and he's like he eats so little for a big guy that he is, and he would rather just have the tastiest, like fanciest little piece of like meat, like dinner, and I'm like, give me the big meal.
Yeah. He would eat like the most decadent 1,000-calorie food the size of a Tic Tac.
That would take like a bite to eat, and he'd be like, oh. I'm satisfied. That was delicious. And I'm like, no.
What else you got?
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about the volume foods. So let me give you some more examples of some lower calorie volume foods that will, take up more room in your stomach and make you more satiated. So obviously greens. I mean, you could eat one of those entire plastic tubs of spinach. I don't recommend that, by the way, for like 100 calories.
Yeah.
Potatoes. They're relatively low calorie for how filling they are. Sweet potato, white potato. I think white potato statistically is like one of the most satiating filling foods in a test that they did. Plain popcorn, believe it or not. I especially recommend if you make it yourself, just so there's less oil in there. You can really control how much oil you use. Dill pickles. Anybody remember me driving around with truck pickles?
We just had a pickle incident in our refrigerator. A pickle jar tipped over and there's pickle juice everywhere.
So dill pickles are a great option. Watch out for the bread and butter ones. Those have added sugar. Strawberries are super low calorie. My favorite, watermelon. Everybody knew that one was coming. Grapefruit, broccoli, bell pepper. It's hard to overeat calories on vegetables. So just go hard on the vegetables. Okay, another tip is to eat enough protein. Out of all the 3 macronutrients, by far, protein is the most filling. Nobody ever sat down and ate 3 chicken breasts.
Overate on protein.
Right. So, aiming for somewhere around that 1 gram per pound per day is a good range. If you have any questions about that, send us a message. I can help you set your own goal. But that's a good one because it fills you up. It digests slow. It keeps you full. Other sources of protein that are good other than chicken breasts, low-fat cottage cheese, low-fat yogurt, lean turkey, lean beef, tilapia, other fish like that, and of course, whey protein. Okay, I'm going to blast through the end of this. Last thing is using little hacks, little tricks to like get you to your next meal. You know your next meal is coming in 30, 45 minutes. You just need something to hold you over. This is stuff like gum, carbonated waters, diet drinks, peanut butter powder, low calorie dressings, things like that. That's not really something to hold you over.
Kick it back with some dressing.
Do some shots of Bolthouse. Line them up. I'd like to order the Bolthouse. I think
you need to reorganize your notes.
Okay, those are more of just like the save calorie tips. The peanut butter powder, the low calorie.
I can see peanut butter powder. You could stir up a little bit of that. What is that, like a little 15, 30 calorie snack? If you needed just to have something in your mouth. But the gum and the fizzy water.
Yeah, for sure. The gum, the water, and the diet soda. I know you don't like diet soda, but that it can help people lose weight. So I'm not anti. And then having little things in your arsenal for those people who are in the habit of eating ice cream at night, looking for the lower calorie options out there. I'm not going to go into all the names because there's a million out there now, but pay attention to the food labels, especially if you're tracking macros. Watch out for those ice creams out there that are low calorie allegedly, but they've pumped a bunch of fiber into. If you see that your ice cream has 15 grams of fiber in it, that's a red flag. Ice cream should not have fiber. So calculate the calories based on the protein, carb, and fat
sounds
content.
Like a stomach ache waiting to happen.
Yeah, who doesn't love a good fibrous ice cream cone? And then last but not least, you need to learn to flex your willpower muscle when you're trying to lose weight when it comes to hunger. There's just no way around it. I mean, at some point, you're going to have to use discipline and willpower to overcome hunger if you truly want to lose fat. So get ready to hear me talking about these things in our day-to-day life as I go through this cut. I'm going through a cut leading up to my birthday just for fun.
I'm going to have a stack of gum on your desk by tomorrow. So I
and
can't help to hear about it.
I'm going to set a bottle of Bolthouse next to my desk and just take a
I need to bring in a mini fridge. You can just have your Bolthouse ready to go. Kick it back. Gross.
All right. That's moving on from that one.
Okay. So now I wanted to just kind of riff about our programs and the possibility of jumping between our different programs to periodize your training. So we've talked in the past about periodizing your training. So having a focus of like, right now in this, I want to build strength for 3 months, and then I want to work on my overall full body fitness for 6 months, and then I want to build strength for 3 months, thinking about periodizing your training in that way. So if you do have any questions about periodizing your training and, changing things up every now and then or for different seasons, for sure, contact us. But back in January, when we released the Built with Dumbbells strength only program with dumbbells, we have had some people move between, after they finished Body 1.0 and they're into Body 2.0, we've moved between Body back into Built with Dumbbells or Built and then back to Body again. So the difference between Built and Built with Dumbbells is just barbells or dumbbells.
Yeah.
But
they're both strength programs.
I just wanted to mention that that's a possibility for you guys, and that if you have any questions about doing this, for sure contact us, and that it's a great idea to do, like if you want to have a different focus at different times. And I think about 5 or 6 months ago, I made a change to how Body 2.0 works. So once you go through one of these 12-week programs, you go into like the 2.0 version, which is just like ongoing monthly for as long as you want. And this is true for Built with Barbells, Built with Dumbbells, and for Body. And I recently made a change for Body 2.0 to where when you get out of Body, when you finish the 12 weeks and you jump into 2.0, you jump in where we all are. So everybody is doing the same workout at the same day, and that's been really cool because it's the group of people doing Body 2.0 is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger as we go along, and so it's super fun to be able to like have everybody doing the same thing. People can talk about it. I can show the videos of everybody working on the same workouts or movements, and it's been a fun time.
I'm laughing because I posted something in the Facebook community group this week after Monday's workout, because we're doing the Body 2.0 program too, and it's really cool because we're all doing the same thing. It's like,
we can talk about it.
Or like we'll post videos in the Instagram story of us doing our workouts, and all the people that are doing it can identify with it and see us going through the same thing.
We're sore today, to be honest. Like, so in Body 2.0, we just recently started a hypertrophy cycle, which is, bodybuilding kind of added volume. And on Mondays is a big leg day. Yeah. And I'm 2 days. It usually takes me 2 days to get my full soreness on. Yeah. And this is 2 days after, and I'm real struggling right here.
Yeah. I have clients that have gone back and forth like you're talking about, and they really, really like it. So it is definitely an option.
Yeah.
And you can kind of like sometimes see a boost in your performance and like your progress, how fast your progress goes, because you've changed the stimulus too. So there's a lot of good reasons to think about mixing things up.
Yeah. Again, so each of our programs starts with a 12-week cycle, Built with Barbells, Built with Dumbbells, or Body. And then once you're out of that cycle, there's the 2.0 version, which is just like ongoing monthly as long as you want. And within those cycles, I take you guys through various 12-week cycles. So for example, on Body, we might go like through a 12-week strength cycle within Body, within the structure of the Body program, where we're still going to get the conditioning. Then we might go to a full-on endurance cycle where we're really ramping up our endurance. So we're having more conditioning workouts than strength. And then like right now we're doing a hypertrophy. So we're trying to just like build some of the showy muscles.
Hello. Sun's out, guns out.
And then we'll probably go back to like a strength cycle, something like that. Yeah. So same thing with Built with Dumbbells, and Built with Barbells. Both of those go through, like, after you get through the initial 12 weeks, there's like a pure strength cycle. And then there's like some volume cycle. Then we might go, move away from all back, back squats. We might, bring in the front squats, and we might do higher reps. So within each of those,
keeps it interesting.
We go through various cycles with the intention to keep you guys growing.
Yep. And the way that it works as of now is Built with Barbells. You can join at any time. It does take barbell experience. We want to make sure that you know what you're doing. We're still going to coach you, but we want you having a base level. Yeah. Built with Dumbbells and Body are monthly. A group starts on the first Monday of every month, and we open registration for that the Monday before. Yep. And we always send out a discount to our email list, and we then on the weekend before, and when we post about it on social media on Monday.
Yeah. So, but if all that to say, if you've been doing one of our programs for a while and you're interested in seeing what else we have and seeing if you could move to something else for a while, then just reach out.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I might as well mention while we're talking about our programs and all this whole thing, like we still do work with a small group of custom clients each on our own also. It's like custom training programs. So we keep that list small because we're very interactive with them, and it's 100% custom program that changes week to week. So if that's something that you're interested in, you need to apply for that, and we'll see if we're a good fit. I got a couple announcements if we're done with all these.
Yeah.
Okay. 2 things real quick.
Okay.
We mentioned last week that we have the 4-week physique program coming out. Don't have a release date for that yet, but if you want to be notified first of it, it's going to be free. I'll put a link to that in the show notes. And then I'm even more excited to announce that we have a 30-day mobility challenge coming out on May 24th.
Official name to be determined.
Yeah, we might try to sexy up the name a little bit, but basically it's 4 weeks of a mobility program that Haley built that we're all going to go through. We're all going to start on May 24th, and it's going to help us improve our mobility, our flexibility, our core strength, our posture. We're going to try to get rid of people's low back pain as much as we can during that time, better hip and hamstring flexibility, all that fun stuff. I'll put a link to register for that in the show notes. We have a web page ready to sign up for. You need to sign up before the 23rd if you're going to be in the group that starts on the 24th, and we're all going to go through it together. There's a private Facebook group where you can interact and ask questions. Haley will be in there. It's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward. This has been a hole in our personal game for a while.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. And it makes me think about something we were talking about earlier of like, I kind of always have identified myself as like I'm tight. My legs are tight. My hamstrings are tight.
A toy girl.
And I do think it's, now that I'm thinking about this, I'll admit it, it's more of like an unwillingness to stretch versus I'm not just tight. I've had an unwillingness to stretch. And so I am really looking forward to this, to like purposely stretching for a month and seeing if I see any improvements.
Yeah. And this is going to be completely fine for beginners. It's not going to take a lot of time. It starts out with about 10 minutes per day.
I think it's about 10
It's only 15 per day at the end of the challenge. So it's going to be awesome. So hit the link in the show notes, join this first group. Let's all go through this together. We'll be doing it with you.
All right.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll catch you next week.